Alright, this video is intended to show you how to set up a group in Realm. And I'm going to give you the basics right now, and then we will later we'll try actually adding a group. And to start with, we're going to we're in Realm, and once again, we want to be sure that we are not in Realm Connect. Realm Connect is the part of Realm. That's the app that individuals download on their phone. It is not the app that we use to do administrative activities with. To do administrative items like activities like creating a group or adding to the calendar, you want to be sure you're in Realm. Uh, we are in all groups. You simply have the list of groups. You can click on a group that has already been created, and you can edit that group. You can add people to it. You can take people off of it. You can change the specifics about that group. You can change leaders. You can add leaders, take leaders off. You can change the description of the group or the name of the group. But you cannot create a group there. To create a group, we have to go to what is called Ministry Areas. And Ministry Areas is found under the Group tab. Let me back out again and go through that. You open up the Group tab, but go to Ministry Areas. Now, Ministry Areas is the diagram that shows you the breakdown of the church structure. And this is not necessarily our true structure. It's simply the structure we use within Realm to place groups. And I'm going to go through these. These big headings are the top level ministry areas that we use at the church. Now currently we have it divided up this way. There's a lot of ways we could do it. We're still growing and changing in this, but at this time we have church leadership, church education and fellowship, other service and ministry groups, system groups, and communing members. I'm going to open up each of these to show you some specifics about them. Under church leadership, we have subheadings. Under each of these groups, we can go in and add a subheading, or we can add a group. And what we do often, we break these down into subheadings and then add groups under the subheadings. Church leadership, we have divided into three subheadings: church officers, church committees, and because we didn't know where to go with the shepherding groups, we put shepherding groups here because we felt like it made it easier for the elders to get to that group. That's probably is something that should have gone under communing members or a different area, but for right now it is under church leadership. The neat thing about these is you can, if we decide we ever have this organized wrong and we want to change it, all we got to do is grab that subheading and we can move it to a different area of ministry. But for right now, we're going to leave that alone. Looking under each of these subgroups, church officers, we have three groups under that. We have deacons, we have ruling elders, and then we have combined elders and deacons, which is actually the combination of those two groups. Moving down to church committees, this does not by any means involve all our church committees. These are just ones that we're using within that have Realm groups created within here. Under church committees, we have Children's Ministry Committee, and we have the Missions Committee. Under shepherding groups, we have 6 groups, and these are based on the names of the current serving elders. or that ministry area, we're going to open up church education and fellowship. At our church, it seemed appropriate to combine fellowship and education because quite often our fellowship groups, or the way that we fellowship within groups, is usually based on how we're divided within church education. So we just made this adult education and fellowship for these groups. Uh, we have adult education and fellowship, and we have children and youth education and fellowship. Currently under adult, we have adult Sunday school classes, and we have 2 groups listed there. I can get those to open. That's our Salt and Light class and our Sunday School Adults Fellowship Hall class. Right now, that's the 2 active Sunday school classes. We have had more active Sunday school classes in the past, but right now that's the 2 that we have. We included under this men's groups. We don't actually have Sunday school classes meeting, but we have the opportunity for men's groups. And right now we just have one, and that's all men. Thought was that in the future there might be a place to make a men's discipleship group if there was a group of men meeting at a certain time. There's also the possibility that we could add a men's Sunday school group. But right now we don't have such a class. Under women's groups, we have two groups. We have all women, and we have the WIC program, Women in Church. I believe those 2 groups basically are duplications of each other, but there are times in which we need to communicate with all the women, and there's times in which we need to communicate with them in reference to actually a ministry of the WIC program. We have a slot for choir and ensemble, although we don't currently have an active choir. These are individuals who have come together before to work to do specials, and these are people that we feel there's a pool of individuals we could communicate with and call upon if we wanted to have an ensemble. We have communications group, all adults and visitors. I don't know that that one is actually being used. It was set up with the intention that it would be we'd include visitors to the church who are not active members. And we have missionary newsletters and updates as a group. I don't know that we're actually using that group right now. It's probably one we need to come back and look at. And then we had youth education and fellowship. This is one that hopefully Aaron may be able to put into use as he works toward, and the elders as they work toward developing a youth education and fellowship ministry within the church. Then we have the subgroup of children's education and fellowship. And we have groups, I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have subheadings for elementary age ministry. We had children divided into 3 there. Preschool education, we have 2 groups there. And under youth ministry, we had 2 groups. And this is just to give you an idea of how we can structure. Some of these probably need to be edited, recombined, or changed as we move forward. The neat thing about this is something that is constantly changing depending on the structure of the church and our activities that are going on at any given time. We have the big or the top level ministry heading of other service and ministry groups. And under that, we have volunteer groups. And then we have Happy Hearts, a group for newsletter, which we've never utilized. And then the Realm Help Forum. We created a group thinking, well, maybe persons would want to communicate with each other and say, how do you do this in Realm? And then within the group, we could all communicate with one another, and those of us who are more familiar with Realm could help others. That one's never gotten off the ground either. Hopefully, eventually, we can get some of these active. The ministry area of system groups is one that Realm sets up automatically. That has within it the groups Main Street Presbyterian Church. Now that should be everyone who has a profile within Realm for our church should be within that group. All personnel. That would of course be employees of the church. Personnel ministers only. That would be for ministerial. Uh, uh, Ordained individuals who are personnel at the church. Personnel staff would be support staff, those who are not ordained ministers, who are not part of the ministerial staff. And then the group users responsibility. Throughout the church, we have certain individuals, maybe they're the leader of a group, maybe they're Sunday school teachers, maybe they are leaders of a team. They have certain responsibilities that they have been granted within Realm that they are able to use. They don't have full administrative uh, credentials, but they do have some credentials that just individuals who are not leaders with responsibilities do not have. And then, as I mentioned before, there is the group communing members, and under that, there is one group under it, and that is the group for communing members, which we as a Presbyterian church, we've got a definition that defines what a communing member is, and only individuals who are communing members should be within that group. The group we have been tasked with creating is a group for the preschool parents, or the parents of preschoolers who are enrolled in Main Street Christian School. Now, problem comes to mind, where will we put that group? Well, if we look at our ministry areas, our top level ministry areas, church leadership, church education and fellowship, other service and ministry groups, system groups, or communing members, we got several options we could go with. Since this could be considered part of a ministry group, we might go with that. But if you think about it, those groups are actually groups within the church. We could go with system groups. We could go with church education and fellowship, but that has primarily been used for Sunday school. Or we could create a new group. Now, if we think about or a new ministry area, I keep using the term group and ministry area interchangeably, and I should not. If we think about the way the church is structured, Main Street Christian School is a separate or a big ministry group area. We could add that as a new ministry area, and I'm leaning that direction because we could have other subgroups within that. We could have the employees or the staff of the Christian school could be a separate group we could also have in this. So I believe for the purposes of this group, and we make, like I said before, we can come back and change this, but I think for now we're going to make this a top level ministry area. So I'm going to add a top level ministry area. You see the page that comes up, and we're going to begin filling in our information. Now we're going to call this area Main Street Christian school. And leader for the group, we're going to make Danny Williams. And there he is. Danny is the elder that, or contact elder, or representative to the school. So we're going to put him as a leader. I'm also going to make Leslie, church office administrator, a leader. And I believe I'm going to leave it at that for now. We can come back and add some more later, but I think that'll do for now. Communication within the groups allow following communication methods: post, events, photos, and group chat. And we're going to save that. We could also add an image, which, like I said before, we can come back later and add that. We may add the Main Street Christian School logo as the image for this ministry area. Okay. And for right now, I'm going to save that. And here we see in our top ministry areas, Main Street Christian School has been added. Now, if you look at the ministry area and come over to the three dots, let's click on that, and we'll see our menu that comes up. And we can do several different things. We can either add a group straight under it, or we can add a ministry area, manage events, manage resources, deactivate that ministry area, or delete it. And what I'm going to do, I don't see a need at the moment for a sub-ministry area. We may come back and add one later. But for right now, I'm just going to add a group. And we are going to call this group Parents of Main Street Christian School, MSCS. And under description, we're going to call this a listing of parents of children enrolled in Main Street Christian School. And the group type, we're going to call this a community. There's several different things we could call it. We could call it a class. We could call it communing members. We could call it a community. We could call it leadership, a network, recovery, service, shepherding group. I think community works best. And leader of the group, once again, I'm going to put Danny Williams and Leslie as leaders. And here we get to define how the participants in the group can communicate. We can let them communicate by post, photos, and through events. And group leaders can communicate with them through post, photos, and events. And we can enable group chat. Now, I think we can go ahead with this, and I think those are valid ways to communicate within the group. Who can see this group? Well, anyone can see it, or current participants and users with appropriate rights can see it only. I think we're going to mark that as a hidden group so that only the participants in the group and the leaders, there's no reason for other church members to be able to, they won't have a need to see or communicate with this group. I think this is something only leaders and the members within that group should be able to see and communicate with. Availability should always be available on the groups page, or should it only be available on certain dates? For right now, we're going to say always. Later on, we may change that since that is a seasonal group. You can designate recess periods when that group's not active. You can put a Twitter link for the group, a Facebook link for the group. Demographics, it's going to be male and female. I'm not going to deal with an age range right now. Marital status is not an issue. Limit member count to a certain number. That's not necessary. Check-in status. There won't be a group leader to attendee ratio to deal with. We're not going to do attendance with that group, so we can mark that off. And there's no reason for age listing whenever we're listing the group. And I don't see any need for the participants tab to have anything about when they joined or last logged in or any of that information. So, all of that being said, let's see, that I believe is everything we need to create the group. So now we're going to hit save. And now under Main Street Christian School, we'll notice there is one group, and that group is Parents of MSCS. Like I said before, this is a good place to also make a group for the staff. So I'm going to go ahead and make that group now. So I'm going to add a group, and this is going to be MSCS staff. And group type, once again, I think we're going to call it a community. And the leaders, we're going to put Danny and Leslie as leaders. And we're going to leave all the communication options there. We're going to make it a hidden group. Only those involved with it will see it. We can come back and do the recess times. Demographics will leave us both. We only have female teachers, but we could have male in the future, so I'll leave that as both. And I believe we don't need an attendance on this within this group. This is only for communication, and I think that takes care of everything we need for that group. So we set up two groups underneath a new top level ministry area, and that's I think all we need to do with that at this time. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful. Now, your next issue you got to deal with, you have created your groups, you've placed them in the correct ministry area, or at least the ministry area we've chosen for now. Now your problem is to populate those groups. And the way you would do that is you would leave the ministry areas tab and would go back to all groups. And under all groups, you're going to look for these groups we just created. Now here's Parents of Main Street Christian School. Now we're going to click on that group, and you're going to see who the leaders are, which we've already set up. You're going to go to participants. Now, to add a participant, the easiest way to do it, you click on add a person, and you've got the option to search the profiles to find these people. And for instance, if you wanted to add Anne Marie Miller, see, there she is, Anne Marie Chilcutt Miller. You can add her. You can come down and you can add Carson. And you go over here to the right. Are they going to be members or leaders or guests? And we're going to make them members of this group, and we're going to add them. And now those two individuals have been added to the roster. You can go on through here adding individuals to this group. Now, if you don't have a profile yet for these people, you're going to have to go to Profile and create a profile for them. So you're going to need, since we're dealing with a group where many of the people are not members of the church, you're going to be going, you're going to have to add them in manually under profiles. You'll be creating new profiles for these different parents. And once those profiles are completed, then you can come back and add them to this group. I hope that makes sense. You would do the same thing for this other group we created and for any other group. As we go through and edit these groups, adding and taking people off or making them leaders or whatever else we do, it creates these groups. And then we have the opportunity, once the groups are created, we can send group emails to these individuals. I hope that this helps explain how to create and populate groups.